All right, let's get right into it. 2025 is shaping up to be a huge year where two massive forces are about to collide. You've got the incredible rise of AI that can actually do things on its own, and then you have the world of policy just trying to keep up. We're going to break it all down: what AI agents are, how they actually work, and what the future of regulation might look like. So yeah, let's jump in.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to nail down what an AI agent really is. Then we'll pop the hood and see how these things actually think. After that, and this is super interesting, we're going to look at some surprising lessons from crypto policy that could totally shape AI's future. We'll see how you can build safety right into the code. And finally, we'll wrap up by pointing out exactly what you should be watching for next.
All right, first things first, what is an AI agent? The most important thing you need to get is that we've moved way, way beyond the chatbots we're all used to by now. This is a whole different ballgame.
And let's be super clear about this from the get-go. This is not just another chatbot.
So, what are we talking about then? Well, the formal definition is an autonomous system that perceives its environment, makes decisions, and takes actions to achieve specific goals. But look, the crucial part there, the real game changer, is that it takes actions. It's all about doing stuff, not just talking about it. You know, the difference really boils down to being reactive versus proactive. A chatbot, it's reactive. You give it an instruction, and it follows it, simple as that. But an AI agent is proactive. It has goals, and it pursues them on its own, using tools and its own memory to actually act in the digital world. Think of it like this. It's the difference between a helpful person you can chat with and a true partner who gets things done for you. So, these agents are built on four core ideas, right? First, they've got autonomy. They can operate without a human constantly telling them what to do. They've also got reactivity, meaning they can respond to changes around them. They're proactive, which means they're always driving toward a goal. And get this, they even have a kind of social ability, so they can interact with us and with other AIs. And this quote, it really gets to the heart of the matter. The future isn't about full automation. It's more focused on augmentation, a world where humans and agents collaborate as partners. Man, that is such a key mindset shift we need to make. It's not about replacement, it's about partnership. Okay, so now we know what an agent is, but how do they actually work? Let's go inside the engine room, so to speak, and take a look at the cognitive loop that really powers these systems. So at its core, it's this continuous cycle. It all starts with perception, sensing the world through text, audio, even vision. Then it moves to planning and reasoning, figuring out what to do next. After that comes tool use. It literally picks the right software tool for the job. From there, it takes action and executes the task. And finally, and this is critical, memory. It learns from what happened and updates its context to get smarter for the next loop. It's just a constant cycle of observe, think, and do, over and over. So how does that thinking part actually happen? Well, there are two main ways. The first is called chain of thought, which is basically like asking the AI to show its work step by step, in a straight line. But then there's a more advanced method, tree of thoughts, which lets the AI explore and backtrack, kind of considering multiple paths at once. It's really the difference between just following a recipe and actually inventing a new one. Of course, an agent is only as good as its tools, right? Its digital toolkit is what gives it power. We're talking about APIs connect with other software, a web browser to go out and get real-time info, a code interpreter to analyze data or run programs, and of course, memory systems to keep track of everything. This is what gives a language model hands to actually interact with the world.
All right, we're going to do a big pivot now. We've talked a ton about the tech, so let's switch gears and talk policy. And to do that, we're going to look at a really fascinating case study from the world of crypto. The question is, could its recent history be a kind of blueprint for AI regulation? So here's the crucial point, the thing to really hang on to. For any powerful new technology to truly go mainstream, it needs clear guardrails. Without them, what you get is a lot of hesitation and fear instead of real widespread adoption. And we saw this play out perfectly with crypto. You look back at the early 2020s and the lack of clear rules just created a ton of hesitation. But then fast forward to mid-2025 and boom, a new federal framework for stablecoins totally changes the game. And what happens next? Mainstreaming starts to kick in, but it also comes with a lot more scrutiny. The big takeaway here is that clarity is what enables growth. And you can see this shift in the industry's own behavior. Before there were any clear rules, there was a lot of resistance, right? But once a framework started to emerge, the industry did a 180
and pivoted to active engagement. They realized that working with regulators was the only real path to mainstream acceptance.
So what's the lesson here for AI agents? Is that a clear, predictable regulatory framework is what helps a new tech evolve from being a kind of lawless frontier into a trusted part of the mainstream. And this isn't about stopping innovation, not at all. It's about enabling it responsibly. Okay, so if policy creates the rules of the road, how do we actually build the guardrails into the car itself? Let's shift from that abstract policy world to the concrete code that's designed to make these agents safe. This is where the rubber really meets the road. We're talking about real coded protections. Things like PII filters to automatically protect personal data, safety classifiers to flag potentially harmful requests, tool risk ratings to assess how dangerous an action might be, and of course, digital audit trails, so there's always an unchangeable record for accountability. These are the technical controls that actually bring those high-level policies to life. But what happens when an agent wants to do something with really high stakes? That's where something called the human-in-the-loop process comes in. It's a critical safety net. The agent actually rates its own proposed action, low, medium, or high risk. Low and medium risk actions, they can go ahead automatically. But high risk actions, nope. They are paused and sent to a human for the final go or no-go. It's how we make sure a person is always in control when it matters most.
And this quote just brings it all together perfectly. The goal is to design for collaboration, not just pure autonomy, right? The goal isn't to have a machine that does everything on its own. The goal is to design for a true partnership between the human and the AI. So, after all that, what are the most important things to take away from this? And maybe more importantly, what are the signals you should be watching for as this technology keeps rocketing forward?
Let's break it down. On the technology side, the big takeaway is agents are about collaboration, not replacement. The thing to watch for? Huge leaps in multimodal capabilities, agents that can see and hear. Now for policy, the story of 2025 is clarity, which leads to adoption and scrutiny. So you want to watch how the enforcement trends actually develop in practice. And finally, in practice, remember that guardrails are what enable responsible innovation. So the thing to watch there is how widely those human-in-a-loop safeguards get adopted in a real world.
And hey, if you want to go deeper on any of this stuff, these are the sources we use to build this whole explainer. They're absolutely excellent reads, and they offer way more detail on everything we've just covered. And, all of this leaves us with some really big open questions for the future. Like, how will entire teams of AI agents coordinate on really complex tasks? And how can we even effectively audit these increasingly complex systems? Well, we'll be tackling exactly that next time when we dive into multi-agent workflows and evaluation. Thanks so much for tuning in.